designate the amendment.
Amendment number 22, printed in Part C of House Report number 111-143, offered by Mr. Peters of Michigan.
Pursuant to House Resolution 522, the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Peters, and a member opposed will each control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Michigan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield myself as much time as I may consent.
Gentleman's recognized.
Today, we are considering important legislation that will support efforts to strengthen, modernize, and rebuild the capacity of the Department of State to fulfill its core diplomatic mission. This legislation will also increase the arms control and non-proliferation capabilities of the State Department and reform the system of export controls for military technology and improve oversight of U.S. security assistance abroad. As we expand our diplomatic capabilities, we must remember that trade is the driving force of both our economy and our international diplomacy. In December 2004, Congress passed the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative. As of June 1, 2009, this initiative now requires that travelers have passports for all land and sea crossings, including travel to and from Canada and Mexico. We need to know exactly how these new passport requirements are affecting our economy. Obviously, prudent security measures must be undertaken to keep Americans safe, but we also need to assess whether these measures are working and how they affect border state businesses, and my amendment will require such an assessment. Congress can then determine whether corrective action is needed to change the requirements and provide relief to border state business or both. The Peters Amendment would require the Secretary of State to submit to Congress within 18 months of passage of this act a report on the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative on the flow of people, goods, and services across international borders of the United States, Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, and the Caribbean region. The amendment stipulates the report should pay specific attention to the effects on small businesses and the measure's effectiveness in strengthening border security. Increasing the security of our borders must be a top priority for Congress. We must also ensure that implementation of the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative is carried out in a manner that increases our national security but does not unnecessarily hinder trade and strain our small businesses. Our nation's fight through a recession is particularly important that we assess the effect measures approved by this body have on our economy. I greatly appreciate the support of my friend and colleague from New Mexico, Congressman Teague, for his office's assistance on this important amendment and help on issues of importance to both our northern and southern border regions, and I urge my colleagues to support my amendment. Madam Chair, I reserve the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida rise?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I ask unanimous consent to claim time in opposition, even though I do not oppose the substance of the amendment.
Without objection, the gentlelady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support this amendment because the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative was fully implemented in June 1st of this year with the goal of strengthening U.S. border security while at the same time enhancing accountability of those entering our country. By calling on the Secretary of State to provide a report to Congress describing the impact this implementation has had on the flow of people, goods, and services across the international borders shared by the relevant countries, Congressman Peters' amendment will help us understand better how effective this initiative has been in making our country safer and what impact these new measures will have on the business sectors of our countries. The Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative was a significant step toward making America more secure. Congressman Peters' amendment is important as it would provide greater accountability and oversight of the objectives and consequence of this important initiative and will ultimately help us protect the interests and the safety of the American people. And with that, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Lady yields back. Gentleman from Michigan.
Madam Chair, my amendment is a common-sense measure that ensures that the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative effects on small businesses are known and reported to Congress in a timely manner. The Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative must be implemented in a way that strengthens our national security, maintains robust trade and tourism with our neighbors, and protects our nation's small businesses. I would like to thank Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Berman and Rules Committee Chairwoman Slaughter and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Michigan. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. That's okay. Now it is now in order to consider amendment number 23, printed in Part C of House Report 111-143. For what purpose does the gentleman from California rise?
Yes, Madam Chair, as designee, I have an amendment made in order by the rule, and I ask for its